Last year, if you paid any attention to the media hype surrounding the release of Crazy Rich Asians, you may have noticed the name of another film being mentioned quite frequently.
It's the Joy Luck Club.
Joy Luck Club.
Movies Joy Luck Club.
Joy Luck Club.
And if not already familiar with that name, you may have gone online to find out more about the Joy Luck Club, only to find... Alright, so I think I can say without fear of contradiction that the Joy Luck Club is a controversial movie. It's very much a love it or hate it affair, and similar to other Hollywood Asian stories such as The World of Suzie Wong, the idea of the film has come to overshadow the actual content itself. You can find scads of chat room discussions or online comments bemoaning the reputation of the film, but if you want to find more information, find out what the film is actually about, you're going to have a little more difficulty. And quite frankly, I find that to be a shame, because the film, by itself, is quite remarkable and worthy of discussion. Therefore, in this video, I would like to contribute to that exact discussion, while also addressing the main criticisms levied at the film, which have contributed to its maligned reputation. Now, before I begin, I should make it clear that I am focusing on the 1993 film adaptation of The Joy Luck Club, as opposed to the original 1989 novel by Amy Tan, for several reasons. Firstly, Tan was heavily involved in the making of this film, co-writing the script with Ronald Bass, and in their own words, the film comprises the emotional core of the story which Tan set out to tell. What you get in the film is what Tan wanted to convey in the novel. Many details of the story were removed or streamlined for the purposes of transitioning it to the film medium, but the messages remain the same, and those changes themselves are important to understanding the criticisms levied at the Joy Luck Club. I will be discussing the changes that occurred in the adaptation, but for your listening convenience, unless otherwise stated, all plot points which I detail come from the film. To provide structure for this analysis, I believe the best way to examine the Joy Luck Club is through the lens of its four pairs of mothers and daughters. The essential plot of the Joy Luck Club revolves around four mothers, whose personal experiences have shaped their styles of parenting, and four daughters, whose misinterpretation or ignorance of these experiences have shaped their own lives and contributed to the conflict of their own stories. Essentially, it is a story about parents realizing their mistakes and trying to correct them before their children make their own mistakes as a result. So, let's begin. If there is a main character in the ensemble cast of The Joy Luck Club, that character would be June Jingmei Woo. The story begins and ends with her, and while the other daughters have one central conflict in their subplots, June has two. The first of these conflicts revolves around her mother's expectations for her. When June is 9, her mother, Sooyeon, makes her take up piano practice, in the hopes that she will turn out to be a musical prodigy. As is often the case in these situations, June is less than enthusiastic.
Yes, little Johnny, you shall play the violin, because I never had the chance when I was a child. Well, you got the chance now, why don't you learn it now?
It also doesn't help matters that, from June's perspective, Sooyeon's main motivation in doing all this is to upstage their neighbor LINDO Jong and her daughter Waverly, who is a local chess champion and a source of constant bragging on LINDO's part. To June, actually wanting to play the piano is secondary to providing her mother with her own source of bragging rights. As such, she does not approach practice very seriously, and after a disastrous concert, June refuses to ever play again. As June grows up, she keeps failing to meet what she thinks to be her mother's great expectations of her. She drops out of college, she only manages to get a job as a copywriter, and she remains unmarried by the end of the film. And for most of that time, most of her life, June has felt like a failure, a child who has failed to live up to the expectations of a pressurizing tiger mom. But here's the thing. Soo-yeon isn't a tiger mom. Her desire for June to be someone great is not motivated by braggadocio or pompousness. Rather, it comes from a much more visceral and painful place in her past. Many years ago, during the Second Sino-Japanese War, Soo-yeon had a husband and 2 baby girls. However, when she was forced to flee her home in Guilin because of the war, by the time she made it to Chungking, where her husband was stationed, she had abandoned her babies, left them by the side of the road. June knows about these babies. She hears about them when she is a young girl, but she does not hear all of the story. All her mother tells her is that by the time she had reached Chungking, she had lost everything. June cannot comprehend why her mother would abandon her own children, what connection that even has to her mother's hope for her. To June, her mother's supposed murder of her babies was simply a horrid act of cruelty, which she can never forgive. Even by the time of her mother's death, June refuses to forgive. However, she does come to understand, at least partially. One night, when the Jongs and Woos have dinner together, June feels upstaged once again by Waverly's successful career as a businesswoman. And when June looks to Soo-yeon for defense, she replies,
True. Cannot teach style. June not like Waverly. Must be born this way.
June, of course, feels humiliated and betrayed. And later that night, all the resentment towards not living up to her mother's expectations come out, and they have a fight. And in that argument, Soo-yeon finally reveals,
Of me.
Not expect anything. Never expect. Only hope. Only hoping best for you. It's not wrong to hope.
when Soo-yeon says that one cannot teach style, she means that June is the one with style. June may not have success, but she has kindness and heart. And more than that, she has stability. A copywriter may not be a prestigious job, but it pays the bills and puts food on the table. Even if she is not a 1980s businesswoman like Waverly, she has everything she needs to live a happy and satisfying life. And what more could a mother ask for her daughter?
I see you.
Sometime later, Soo-yeon would pass away. However, the story would not end there.